Hey gang, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. Not too long ago, I started doing videos that are unedited, just driving day, my random thoughts as I've been driving down the road and so forth. And actually, they've been surprisingly well received. So I'm really pleased with that. I did a live stream on Christmas Day, and one of the questions that I got we discussed was whether or not it would be helpful for me to put the date in the video that it was actually recorded. So I started doing that, and you'll be able to see that once the video itself starts running. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking your time to watch my videos. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. If you leave a comment down below, that'd be awesome. Thumbs up. This stuff doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps me out. And if you want to leave a comment to help out, but you don't know what to say, you can always just say CFYT. That stands for comment for YouTube. Just say it. So there's that opportunity. As I said, these are completely uncut videos. And in some of them, I had a setting on one of my GoPros where it would like pre-record for 15 seconds of content before I actually told it to start recording. So in those cases, you're going to hear me say GoPro start recording. And instead of just hearing me say at the end of a clip, GoPro stop recording. So anyway, hope you really enjoy the videos. And as always, we'll see you the next time. Hey guys, just a real quick one on this particular video. This is a pretty long video because it includes the driving tour of Saratoga National Historic Park. There was a companion video where I was doing the walking portions of that, and I'll put a link to that up here. I think it goes. All right, let's go ahead and roll the intro and get right into the video. Thanks for being here. Well, I've already turned around, but we ended up spending 3 nights here at Loch 7 Park on the Erie Canal. And shortly after we got here, I was able to see a boat going in each direction, so I got to see the lock rise to let a boat in, rise up, let that boat out, and then another one came from the other direction, and it came in on the high side and went down on the low side. So I got to see, the complete operation, which was very, very cool. And as I said, I ended up staying for 3 nights, which made me a scofflaw. I don't normally do that, but there was a canal police officer that came around a couple of times. You're typically only supposed to stay for 2 nights, but I also have a feeling that that's in part to keep people camping in tents from tearing up the ground. That would be my guess. So if you see that bike up there, or this pathway to the left, also to the right, there's a huge Empire State bike trail way through here. And then there were also some trails through the woods. We managed not to get any ticks, yay. I got to relax a little bit. I did get a bunch of work done. And the biggest issue for me was just that I'd been moving every day for almost 10 days, about 8 days, I think. And that's really kind of beyond my limit in terms of moving constantly and not being able to sit still. So I had already planned to spend 2 nights here, and I got to thinking about it, yesterday morning, and I'm like, well, it's Sunday of Labor Day weekend, and I talked to the lockmaster, and he said it wouldn't be a problem. So I stayed for 3, and it was lovely. And it's just after 9 o'clock right now as we're getting out of here. Our first stop is going to be at Sam's Club, so we can get fuel, because we're almost down to a quarter of a tank. my batteries are down to like 57%, which may be about the lowest I've ever seen them. And, you know, partly we had a lot of cloudy days, and partly, oops, that sounds like something I forgot to put away. Oh, I bet I know what it is. So a lot of cloudy days, so I wasn't getting recharged. And then I was partly parked in the shade, so I wasn't getting the maximum amount of solar that was available anyway. So I'm going to give it until tonight and see how close to fully charged we get, because it should be sunny all day today. And we'll see where we go from there. If I'm not pretty close to fully charged by the end of today, then I'll probably end up running the generator to bring it back up to full charge. On the other hand, if I'm up to like 87, 88%, I'll wait another day, because I think it's supposed to be sunny for the next couple of days. And we should get back up to where we need to be. But this is good practice for me for, you know, winter time with really short days. We're still in daylight savings time right now. And one of the things that happens is when you're not getting enough solar to be able to fully recharge your batteries, as each day goes by, you get a bigger and bigger deficit. So when I started yesterday, I was at like 82%, I think. No, it was about 75%. And then I was at 60% when I went to bed last night. But when I go to bed, I turn off my inverter and I'm running off of the lead acid batteries, which really are not terribly efficient. The original lead acid batteries. And so when I turn it back on in the morning, from just charge only from my lithium batteries to inverting, which brings the whole system back together, at that point I'm typically pulling like 400 plus watts, about 450 watts, to get the other batteries recharged, the lead acid batteries recharged. It's a little bit complicated, but the system actually seems to work pretty well for me, so I'm good with that. And as I said, I mean, I've always got the opportunity to be able to turn on the generator if I really need to. I don't like listening to the noise, but hey, if I gotta, I gotta. I had a nice shower this morning, got rid of my trash, defrosted my freezer, just killed another mosquito. Man, I got mosquito bit like crazy here. I've got one on the bottom of my foot that makes me crazy with every step I take. So there's that. I figure a few more days and that'll feel better. So our first stop today is at Sam's Club in 4.3 miles in Troy, New York, I think. And then we're heading to Saratoga National Historic Park. And I think then we're going to go drive through Saratoga Springs. It's going to be a long day. And we are likely going to end up in either a Walmart or a Home Depot this evening in Rutland. I think that's Vermont. We'll see. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, well that's the worst fuel economy I've gotten in quite some time at 8.87 mpg. But that's okay. As I said, it's the worst that I've gotten in quite some time. And I kind of think that, to some extent, the routes that Google chooses as being most fuel efficient aren't for me. I'm not sure if that's really true or not. But it's also kind of a big whatever.
Head south toward Erie Street.
Like in this case, Google is mostly keeping me off of freeways, and I'm A-okay with that.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto US 9 North Loudon Road.
And today is September 2nd. This was the first time I've had to get fuel since August 26th, I think. Whoops, sorry, cat. And the pump shut off at $100. So I had to, put my car back in, start it over again. So it was $112.65, I think.
At the light, turn left onto US 9 North Loudon Road.
Well, we're definitely in the shopping section with all of these shopping centers around here.
Continue on US 9 North for 6 miles. Continue on US 9 North for 6 miles.
And we are on US 9 North. We have 22 miles to our next destination, which is Saratoga National Historic Park. And I think when we get there, I'm going to go ahead and make breakfast first, and then we'll go in and see what's what. It's taken me a little while to get my head wrapped around the fact that I really, just because I don't want to eat breakfast until about 10 o'clock, doesn't mean that I need to sit wherever I am and wait for that time to approach. Because I can use my whole kitchen and everything, so why not? Are you a sleepy boy? You had a nice night's sleep, didn't you? You told me you did. You told me you slept well last night. I slept well last night. We didn't have people driving in and out of the parking lot next to where I was parked all night long. Well, that's not a fair characterization. Night before last, somebody pulled in just a little bit after dark in a smallish SUV. They stayed there until 3:51. I happened to snap awake when I heard the engine start. They ran their engine for a minute or two, and I thought, well, maybe they're cold and they're running the heat. Then they turned the car off, got out of it, walked away for a few minutes, and then when they came back, they, oops, guess we're gonna stop for this light too. When they came back, they sat there for another, because I heard the door slam, not really making any effort to be quiet. And it's not like they didn't know I was there, I was like maybe 75 feet away from them. Anyway, not making any effort to be quiet. And then they waited a couple minutes, started the car, and left. So there was that one. And so I was really basically awake at 3:51 night before last. I did not have a great night's sleep. I didn't get back to sleep. I was just starting to drift off a little bit before about 4:45, I think. And a guy comes in a pickup truck, I think hauling a trailer, drove down along my driver's side through the grass. I think he was going down to the fishing area to like launch a boat, because he was down there for 5-10 minutes or so, and then came back up, drove past me again, and then came into the parking lot and parked. And he was there all day long. What was funny was when he finally left yesterday afternoon late, I didn't see it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I didn't see him drive back down to the fishing area, which is all grass. There's no actual road down there, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. So the night before last, I didn't have a great night's sleep, and that's part of the reason I decided to just stay for another night. Because starting tonight, I'm back in parking lots again, like longer. I was very grateful to find out about the lock sites on the canal. Wish I had known about it sooner. I might have been able to do a couple other stops at locks instead of parking lots, but I didn't. I think it's going to help me look at the map a little bit more carefully when I'm trying to pick places to go, though, to see where it might be likely that something might show up that would be useful to me. I've got something like, I think probably 10 mosquito bites on the back of my neck. And I don't understand how well, I kind of understand how the mosquitoes got in. It was pretty warm yesterday and the day before. So I had both of my emergency windows propped open and, you know, no screens. So that's kind of a bigger issue to me. It's a bigger issue parking near water in humid areas because there just seem to be way more mosquitoes than in drier areas like out in the west, for example. Roller skating here on the right. Ducktills. Don't really see roller skating rinks much anymore, I don't think. Oh, and like this fuel here is $3.46. I've been seeing $3.49. I just paid $3.19 at Sam's, which was probably about a 5-minute detour and totally worth it to me. So I'm curious, when you're traveling, do you prefer to take the roads less traveled, or do you prefer to stick to the interstates? Do you have a tendency to use chain places, like chain restaurants, fast food, that kind of stuff? Or do you look for the locally owned mom and pop things, or do you avoid eating out altogether? I pretty much try not to eat out, although now I gotta look, because there is a Home Depot that I'm planning to stay in, and I can't remember if it's tonight or tomorrow night. And across the parking lot from it is an Asian restaurant that got excellent reviews. And I really love me some Asian food. So I might go eat out there. We'll see. But in general, what I find is, I think I'm a really good cook. I don't think anybody would actually disagree with that, but hey, you know, if you've eaten my food and you don't agree, leave a comment down below. And so for that reason, because I can control what I'm eating, and because I can control my budget more easily, I really don't eat out very often. My experience usually is it's way more expensive than I think it should be, and I didn't get as good a food as I could have if I just made it at home. And lately I've been eating a lot of salads for dinner. And one of the things that I've discovered with my vacuum sealer, is by using my vacuum sealer, stuff really lasts a whole lot longer than it otherwise would. So for example, when I open a package of lunch meat, typically I would want to get it eaten in 3 to 5 days-ish, because it starts to be less appealing after that. And I'm buying 2-pound peppered turkey lunch meat at Sam's Club. Well, there's no way I can eat that in 3 to 5 days. So what I do is right after I get it, I open up the package and I split it in half, and I put 1 pound in one bag and 1 pound in another bag, seal them both up with the original date on the bag, and then 1 pound I just don't touch until I have finished the other bag. But that one, you know, I'll open it up, get out whatever I want for that meal, and then reseal the bag. So that meat is only being exposed to air for, you know, what, less than a minute. And so as a result, instead of having it start to get slimy and icky in 3 or 5 days, it basically lasts about as long as the original date on the package would have had it last. So there's a tip for you. And if you don't have a vacuum sealer, you might want to consider it. So, and I think I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. I had always had a big Food Saver brand, got it at Costco, and they upgrade them over the course of years. They're expensive, they're like $100 or more. They do a really good job, but in addition addition to being expensive, they're also big. Take up a lot of space, and you know, when I hit the road initially in my other RV, I'm like, I'd really like to be able to bring it, but I couldn't figure out a way to be able to carry it effectively. And then, I think about a year ago, Frugal RV Gal did a video where she had bought a little vacuum sealer to use with the reusable Ziploc bags that have a little hole in them so that you can, you know, vacuum seal and open it up and reseal it. And I thought, well, I could certainly carry that, and I went and looked on Amazon, and what I realized was that that would limit me to only buying the reusable bags. And since part of my reason for having this is to be able to reseal over and over, and, you know, repackage stuff and save on resources. Didn't put that in my save on resources video, really should. Using one that is going to use much more expensive bags that would require me to either waste money on the bags or clean them to be able to reuse them just seemed like more complication in my life than I really wanted. And so as I was looking around on Amazon, I found the vacuum sealer that I purchased, which I think was about $30. I've had it probably about a year, and got a lot of use when I was camping with Donna from like last November until July, because it Donna eats mostly meat and buys big packages of stuff, and she'd been, you know, freezing stuff in Ziploc bags, and the quality deteriorates, especially in an RV freezer, fairly quickly. You start getting freezer burn and frost buildup and stuff like that when you're using freezer bags, or, you know, Ziploc bags like that. So I was sealing a lot of stuff for her in addition to myself during that time period. So it's had a lot of use. And I mean, quite frankly, even if it stopped working now, I would definitely feel like I had my $30 worth out of it, and I would certainly buy another one. So far, I don't want to speak that into existence, so far it's doing really well, and I am very pleased with how much money I've been able to save by not having to waste food. So here's another example. I have frozen meat that I have frozen months ago. I really need to start eating out of my freezer. My freezer is pretty full, because I've also been doing things lately like I'll buy fresh blueberries, and then I've got a little tray that I put them on and stick that in the freezer until they freeze, and then I dump them into a vacuum seal bag and seal them up. Same thing, open them up, get them out, get out what I want, and then reseal the bag. So when I was buying frozen blueberries and just leaving them in the bag that they came in, they didn't last all that long before they started getting all frostbit. Same thing with frozen vegetables. You know, like I keep frozen spinach around because I can, you know, scramble it with eggs or put it in smoothies, or, you know, add it to soup, any number of things. But I'm not using it fast enough that if I buy the frozen spinach in the bag from the store, it deteriorates too quickly. And the same thing is true if you buy any frozen vegetables that are intended to be microwaved in the bag that they came in. Yeah, in an RV fridge, I find that they get frostbitten and nasty in less than a week, because they've already got holes in them, basically, to let the steam escape. I'm going to stop talking about food now. As you can see, Google is taking us completely on backcountry roads. We still have 14 miles to get to Saratoga National Historic Monument Park. I think it's park. Alright, last thing before I turn the camera off. I asked a ranger the other day at Fort Stanwix how they make the determination between whether it's a monument or an historical park or an historic battlefield or a historic site or whatever it is. And he says it's all by act of Congress. And basically Congress decides what they're going to call something, and there is no like criteria for categorization, apparently. I thought that was pretty interesting, because I kept trying to figure out what the difference was amongst them and never quite did. GoPro, stop recording. Well, we've taken the back roads all the way here to Saratoga National Historical Park, also apparently known as Saratoga National Battlefield Road, that we're on. So we're going to go find out what this is all about. So basically, we're exploring Revolutionary War stuff. Cars here, buses straight ahead. Well, more people here than I would have expected. They've only been open for an hour.
Your destination is on the left.
And here's my bus parking. Not going to be getting much solar here. GoPro, stop recording. Alright, so we went in and watched the movie and got our passport stamp, and then we came out to read the brochure. Pretty interesting story. I'm going to cut to the chase pretty quickly, which is the defeat of the British in this battle was the first major defeat that Britain had ever been through, and as a result, other countries felt empowered to engage with them, so they ended up fighting 5 battles simultaneously and eventually made peace with the US in 1783, because Britain was just kind of overrun with war in all of its, colonies, or many of its colonies and stuff. So that was pretty interesting. So this is a 9-mile loop tour. Hopefully there will be places where I'll be able to pull over. I have no idea how big they are. See what the notice says. Share with pedestrians and bicycles and cars. Doesn't say anything about RVs though. There were actually 2 battles fought here, one in September of 1777 and the other in October of 1777. And in the first battle, which only lasted for a day, the British defeated the Americans. And in the second battle, which actually went on for over a week, the Americans defeated the British. And that's what sparked all the other problems for the Brits as time went on. So there are tourist stops, but it is going to be questionable as to whether or not I can use them. Okay, well, it is a one-way road, so let's see what happens if I pull up here. So part of the issue is they offer a they say they offer a driving tour, but they really don't. Sorry, they say they offer an audio tour by either telephone or by using an Audible app, but they don't. Neither one of those worked, and so we may just be doing the 9-mile drive here without being able to actually get out and look at anything, which would be kind of a shame because I think it's an interesting story, but we shall see. They did not design this well for RVs. And in fact, they didn't have any RV parking. They only had slots for, I think, 3 buses for bus parking. I imagine it's probably an older park for the MPS system, since the battle's so old. And so maybe, I mean, The only way I saw to get up to the visitor center was a big flight of stairs, like 2.5 stories high. So not really accessible. Now there might have been some other way to get there. I didn't really notice since I don't have any problem doing stairs. And in fact, I go out of my way to do stairs as often as possible. They have a 4.2-mile hike, but that only visits 2 of the sites, so I decided to do the drive instead, assuming I'd be able to get out and you know, walk around and do stuff. So like when we've been to Gettysburg and even Antietam and places like that, the pull-offs are on the side of the road, so that, you know, you can just parallel park basically. But at that one at least, they had marked route. Look at that puppy dog. That's a very, very cute puppy dog. I can't imagine they're walking the entire 9 miles. And I didn't notice when I looked at the map from the brochure, I didn't notice the hiking trail being along the roadway. I think the way to do this really is by e-bike. That would be awesome. Okay, so we've got to pull over here and a little monument, but it's not an actual stop. We just have the little monument up there. And nobody's coming, so we're going to continue along. And I'm probably going to chatter through the entire 9 miles. Certainly is beautiful. Nice to see the sun out and some blue sky today, but we still got plenty of clouds. When I checked, even though I was still sitting in partial shade there, I think I was getting 500 watts in on solar, so that was nice. All right, there's only one car up in that one, I think, so maybe I'll be able to do the next one. I don't think that's the next one. We got a ways to go down here yet. And of course they've pulled over with their e-bikes, but, well, presumably e-bikes, they might be regular bikes. But they're not going much below the speed limit. Yeah, I think they're regular bikes. Good for them. Yeah, speed limit is 25. They're doing at least 20. I'm not exactly leaving them in the dust. Okay, is this a site that I might be able to park at? Maybe? Go with yes, because I'm going to do this. Not blocking the road, blocking a bunch of parking spaces, but that's okay. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, start recording. Well, we just spent longer here than I really thought we would. Yeah, it's already 12:30. We did find how to get the audio tour finally. So I'm going to be listening to that. And I think I'm going to let this go ahead and record while I do, while we're on the way to stop number 3. But this was quite interesting. This was Nielsen's farm, and there were 2 docents, volunteers up here, talking about it. And they allow you to go into the Nielsen's farm house, which was Benedict Arnold's headquarters. And then I'm going to have to wonder What was it that caused Benedict Arnold to be identified as a traitor? I do not know. I don't know what that little road is over there either, but it looks like I can't get through it, so let's not go there. Alright, we're going to play the audio.
A fairly sheer drop of over 100 feet to the narrow floodplain and the riverbed below. Earthworks on the plain below would block any movement south along the river or the road. These works were manned by the Massachusetts troops of General John Glover's brigade. Glover's men were the most recent reinforcements to the Northern Army and were some of the steadiest veterans. Fortifications and artillery placed on the heights where you are now protected the works below and were in turn protected by works on another height just to the south. British scouts could see this formidable interlocking system and persuaded General Burgoyne that testing them would be folly. This is where Kosciuszko's skill as a military engineer was first appreciated. This part of the American lines on top of the bluff was...
Okay, keep in mind these white posts with the blue tops indicate the American fortifications. Basically, they built a wall that was over 2 miles long. We haven't gotten to where Site 3 actually starts yet, but they're just talking about it.
Was General John Nixon's brigade and detachments of Major Ebenezer Stevens' artillery. Stevens' men manned a hodgepodge of 22 artillery pieces of varying sizes, both iron and bronze, and spread out all along the American works.
You may wish to leave your car and walk up to the gun platforms in order to see the ground below from the point of view of the American gunners. The wayside exhibits will explain the layout of the American river fortifications in greater detail, with some artist concepts of what they may have looked like. The path leading to the South Redan is about 200 yards long, with further wayside exhibits about the fortifications.
Alright, so now that we've heard all about it, we'll see what it looks like when we get there. Did you notice that car coming the opposite direction that seemed to think it was okay to be in my lane to pass a bicycle? Why do people do that? It's not okay to cross a double yellow line when other people are coming into that pathway, folks. It just isn't. Okay, so Bemis Heights. We're just going to look at the view from here, because look at it. Just look at it. I like that their wayside plaques, their maps and stuff are in metal, in bas relief. Alright, we may stop at the next one. Let's learn about the next one.
At stop number 4, you will be facing north. Between the two battles of Saratoga on September 19th and October 7th, advance pickets from both armies faced each other across the middle ravine. The farmhouse that stood here served as an American observation post. As General Gates' army received reinforcements and continued to fortify its position, General Burgoyne anxiously waited for help that would not come. General Howe, who was expected to come north from New York to join Burgoyne, would direct his attention toward Philadelphia. Colonel Barry St. Ledger, who was to have come from the west through the Mohawk Valley, was turned back at Fort Stanwix by the combined efforts of Colonel Peter Gainsford, General Nicholas Herkimer, and the one the Indians called Heap Fighting Chief, Benedict Arnold. Gates' army continued to grow. Burgoyne was on his own. Then on the afternoon of October 7th, excited American pickets reported large formations of Crown forces advancing southward.
I like the way they lay these battlefield tours out too, though. You know, one-way roads typically. Looks like these people are on conventional bicycles. That's taken a little bit of effort. Good for them. Well, the vantage points are pretty daggone good. Unfortunately, I don't think there's really a whole lot that's truly video worthy without getting out and walking around. So we're going to stop recording.
Turn left to stay on Saratoga National Battlefield Road.
Leah nibbles at the frosting on her carrot cake and twists her ponytail with her finger, looking around at all the people she's never met and scooting closer to Aiden, which makes his heart.
GoPro, start recording. This is the last stop, and I just wanted to share how beautiful it is with the rolling hills, the red barn out there in the distance, pretty leaves and flowers. I'm going to pull over here just a second though. I want to go ahead and get the GPS set so that we're good to go. GoPro, stop recording.
But he hates most of all that she was hurt by a boy she trusted, just like every other woman he knows. And he hates that she will be hurt again no matter what he does to protect her. And he hates how wrong he handled everything with her. And right now, he knows it won't solve the lifetime of trauma she's...
GoPro, start recording. I wonder what the Great Ravine is. What do you think, guys? Should we go find out? I think so. So we're going to head up and take a look at the surrender site, which is about 7 miles away. That was from the second battle. Lots of people on bicycles. Good for them. Pretty stream over there to the left. And I think we're going to be paralleling the Hudson River here in a little while, moving north, so that'll be cool. In some ways, I'll be sorry to say goodbye to upstate New York. But I'm also excited about seeing things I've never seeing states I've never seen before at all. I do not believe that I have ever in my life been in Vermont. And that's where we're sleeping tonight.
Turn left.
Don't think I've been in New Hampshire. Rhode Island. Don't think I've been in Rhode Island. I might actually. But certainly not Maine. Pretty sure not Massachusetts. I mean, I'm going back even as a kid, when I may not even remember having been there, but you know what I mean. Haven't been there. Okay, so we're going to head towards Schuylerville and the Schuyler House and the Saratoga Monument and the surrender site. Look at this, no traffic for as far as I can see. That's pretty cool.
Head southeast on US 4 north toward US 4 south. Continue on US 4 north for 6 miles.
72 degrees outside today, so definitely cooler than yesterday. Yesterday got up to about 85, I think. And, normally I would have just let the fans run all day, but since the batteries were already depleted, I didn't do that, so it was kind of warm. I just checked when I stopped to put the map route in for our next destinations. We're only up to 61% battery. I'm going to be surprised if we make it over 80% today, but hopeful. We are on the Lake to Locks Scenic Byway. And it's definitely been sunny. And maybe it really is scenic, because we talked about looking at the scenery, not the scenery. So I don't know. I've always thought it's kind of like route and route. That's a lot of dead looking trees. I wonder why. Not like they have wildfires out here like they do in the West. Saratoga National Cemetery off to the left. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, start recording. Well, this is the
Your destination is on the left.
I just missed it. I could have actually parked up there. I looked up the really steep hill and I didn't want to have to back out of there. We just passed by the surrender site. So, I mean, think about that. That's like 7.5 miles away by road now. So, I mean, best case scenario, probably still over 6 miles that those battles covered. That's kind of interesting when you think about it. And here we have the village of Schuylerville. Here's the General Philip Schuyler House,
Then continue straight.
which is another unit of the Saratoga National Historic Park.
Continue straight. Then make a U-turn.
I didn't even know this was here. But, since it is,
Turn right onto US 4
I guess, I don't know if I should park there or park over here. I'm gonna park over here.
Head north toward US 4 north.
GoPros, stop recording.
4 north.
GoPro, start recording. Well, that was a fun little walk around, but the house is closed. I'm a little surprised since it's Labor Day. I thought it might have been open, but whatever. Oh, and there's another monument site across the street that we didn't walk to, and I don't think I can park at. Nope. Oh well. So we're going to head on to our Home Depot destination for the evening. And in this case, we're 62 miles away. It's going to take an hour and 31 Google minutes, which means close to 2 hours for RV time. So it's going to be almost 4 o'clock by the time we get there. Probably closer to 3:45.
Turn right onto US 4 North.
And we may or may not get to see the Saratoga Monument as we drive through here.
For 2 miles.
Welcome to Schuylerville! Historic Old Saratoga. So it was originally Saratoga, but they renamed it Schuylerville after General Schuyler. And I'm not sure if this is just canal that we're crossing or if this is actually the Hudson River. I think it was the Hudson River looking at the map. Follow truck car detour. Now the Saratoga Monument is up that way. I think we're just going to drive on through the town. Cute little town. Look at this old brick building here on the right that says gallery. Schuyler Canal Park Visitors Center, which you can't get to. I think, because we took a walk past the yellow house down by the river and to the bridge, which crossed over, and I think that you could have gotten to the park from there, but I didn't feel like going that far. I was getting bug bit. I think I got like 4 or 5 new bug bites on that little walk. Look at these old buildings. Very cool. So in this case, the route that Google is giving me, it said an hour and 32 minutes. And it appears to be the most direct, but it also takes longer than the route that appeared to be more circuitous, but said I could get there in an hour and 26 minutes. But for the hour and 32 minute route, it says save 7% fuel. I can't do that calculation in my head. That would be 62 miles divided by 9 miles per gallon. So 62 divided by 9 will be the number of gallons. Times 7% would be the actual amount of fuel saved. Alright, let's just round up a lot so I can do the math in my head. So let's say roughly 7 gallons of fuel. So my guess is roughly 7/10 of a gallon. So let's say 3/4 of a gallon. And if fuel was an average of 350, which it seems to be, theoretically, that's probably saving on the order of, what, like 2.25 maybe? Something like that. I may actually sit down and do that math with a calculator. And this, of course, has been one of the issues with such an advent of, calculators when I was a kid in school, is that, and I got a bug bite behind my ear that is huge, making my sunglasses sit oddly. When I was in high school was when calculators were really becoming very popular, and in many of the higher math classes, displacing the need to physically do the math or use a slide rule. And I think as a result, I am not able to do relatively simple math in my head anymore. But in defense, why would I need to? A little waterfall over to the right here. I have my phone. I always have a calculator with me, therefore. And I can always get a rough approximation. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Alright, we are going to be crossing the Hudson River here momentarily. I would say don't blink so you don't miss it, but it's not a super small river. Look at the cool old bridge. Is this a 2-lane bridge? It sure doesn't look like it. Of course, he's driving down the middle of the road. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to actually drive down the middle of the road. Okay, this is a little scary actually. Not loving it. Hang on, dude, I'm sorry. Okay, that was not a lot of fun. I didn't even get to look at the river, so I'll have to look at the video to be able to see it later. Yeah, I was not really a fan. It was all metal grating. Okay, now it wants to give me the faster route, which it says saves 18 minutes. Let's see what that looks like. I guess now I'm not into saving fuel, now I'm into saving time. Go figure. We've got a parking hike right there. Definitely in the trees. And I'm not sure, but I think as we work our way further northeast, we're going to get more and more trees. Which means, if that's true, that means that by the time I get down someplace else, further down south again, I am going to be anxious to leave the trees behind. I'm going to try and do a fair amount along the coast as I go south. Like down around Maryland. Well, probably down to Rhode Island. I want to skirt around Boston, although I've got a bunch of stuff picked out near Boston. Definitely want to skirt around New York City. I absolutely do not want to drive the motorhome through New York City. And then kind of pick up the coast again. Maybe in Delaware, probably in Maryland. We'll see. And I might even go visit some of the other places that I've lived, like New Jersey. I can't remember my exact address in Delaware when I was in high school, but I lived in Delaware my last year in high school. first. Champlain Canal Lock 6. Cool. We're detouring. It really is pretty. Okay, now that parking area was big enough to stay in, I think. But I want to get out of New York tonight. Google says the speed limit's 40. Garmin says it's 55. I think we'll do like 45. So there's actually a big island in the middle of the river here that's quite long, called Thompson Island. GoPro, stop recording.
The doctors from the hospital say it would be impossible for her to have been running through the woods. She would have been too weak, dehydrated. She was only half conscious when... Did I say running? You did. You understand, I was out of my mind with relief and panic and...
GoPro, start recording. Now we're in the village of Edwards, I think. Some cool looking old houses here. With all their crooked windows. There's a business called a Taco Situation. I like it. Although I don't imagine upstate New York is a hotbed of high quality Mexican food. Delaware and Hudson Railroad. So it looks like we're going to go through the old downtown section. Fort Edward. That's the village of Fort Edward. Just saw the sign. Truck ahead on County Road 37. Use caution. Wow. St. Joseph's Roman Catholic Church was impressive looking. The river is still off to our left, but we've pulled away from it a little bit. That house on the corner could use some work before it's no longer salvageable in its original condition. It might already not be. Finding all the bumps. Google is about to take me off the beaten path. Not sure how good an idea it is. Well, actually, they've got construction and road closure, so I guess we're not going to do it. This route is 4 minutes slower, it said. We've managed to drive a whopping 52 miles so far since we got gas today. A giant ice cream cone. Rookies, cookies and cream. I'm not a fan of soft serve ice cream. Here's the Marquette by Price Chopper. Oh, that must be like Pavilions and I think it was Lucky. Pavilions was the upscale version. Sushi King! Nice looking cemetery here on the right. I don't know if we're still in Fort Edward or not. Wow, that's a big complex of buildings. It looks like a school, maybe? I don't know. Oh, Washington County Municipal Courts. Oh, campus. So is that where all the schools are, I wonder? And look at this old house on the right. Oh, which must be the monument carving place. Loisel's Memorials. Okay, Google seems to be messed up. Now it says 30, because it was still saying 40. Hudson Falls Veterans. So I guess we're in Hudson Falls now. Look at the brick outlines around the windows over here on this building to the left. That's pretty cool. It's like this just goes on forever. Nice looking funeral home, but they often are. In kind of spectacular looking buildings. This seems to be a real mixed bag in terms of socioeconomic condition. I'm going to go with pretty low at this point. But these are cool looking buildings. First Bank of Glens Falls, but I don't think we're in Glens Falls. But these are very cool looking buildings. Are we going off here to the right? Yes. Super cool little town square. The Strand Theater. The Natalie's Italian food looked pretty nice. A lot of churches in this town. I got a big long line of cars behind me. I don't think I can pull over here. I guess I should at least do the speed limit. I have no idea where we are. What town this is. Looks like it might be coming to an end up there though. And how's this for a bright pink building? GoPro, stop recording.
Look. Her dress, which they'd bought in Bridgestowe before crossing to Holland, gave her a foreign look compared to the costumes of the locals. But that was intentional. She'd hoped to rouse curiosity in her arrival so they'd get an invitation to the castle on the hill. So far, it had not worked. Selin took...
GoPro, start recording. This is the town of Fort Anne. Didn't even rate a speed limit adjustment. Interesting. Or maybe we're not in the actual town of Fort Anne yet. That seems likely. I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. It also occurs to me that if this is the Home Depot that has the good Asian restaurant, I wonder if they're open on Labor Day. Okay, now we're down to 35. And this barn here on the left probably was not anywhere near this close to any other houses or anything when it was built. It's always interesting to see how things grow up around other things. So I wonder what the difference between the town of Fort Anne, which didn't appear to be any kind of town at all, and the village of Fort Anne, which we're just entering. What's the difference between a town and village in upstate New York? There's a good question. Look at that cool stone building on the right with the sign I can't read. So we still have 38 miles to go to our destination, and Google says we're still on time to arrive, as it originally said. Well, now it says 3:16. A moment ago it said 3:17. Close-ish. So I guess it was all that slow stuff at the beginning that we did coming out of Saratoga. Oh, excuse me. Another cool stone building there. That one doesn't rate a placard though. Battleville Brew Pub. You could lay down, kid. It would be okay. Thanks for visiting, Fort Anne. GoPro, stop recording.
But I imagine Selin knows where it is. He lifted the cowl of his grey robes again. I'll fetch it while you're transported in a box on the wagon. Some emotion flashed through his gaze, and he added, "It won't be comfortable, but you'll be perfectly safe. You won't have to stay in there."
GoPro, start recording. Welcome to Whitehall. Historic waterfront and museums, and I forget what else it said.
In a quarter mile, turn right.
26 miles from Ticonderoga and 24 miles from Rutland.
Turn right.
So if we went to Ticonderoga, we'd be staying in New York, I think. But we're going to Vermont. Whitehall is the birthplace of the U.S. Navy. Huh. I had no idea. I guess we're going to be getting on a freeway at some point. I guess 4 turns into a freeway, because my next thing says exit 6 US 4 biz. Huh. Well, we got about 27 miles to go yet. Look at that cool looking building across the street on the right there. That's pretty impressive, and this guy's going to make a left-hand turn from the right side of the road. Wow. Jeez Louise, dude. Well, more time to look at that cool looking building that I can't tell what it is. Company 1 2nd Regiment. Huh. Skinny Manor. No idea. There's just too much stuff to be able to want to learn about. Look at this one on the left. Well, somebody's living in it. Looks like it needs a bunch of work, but not terrible. Ah, we're back in Amish country. And now we're in the town of Whitehall. Yeah, see, I don't get the whole town and village thing. But it's a pretty day. Still a lot of clouds, so I'm not getting maximum solar, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a big bump. Don't want to hit that one at speed. And I'm going to pull over right here and let these guys go around me. Because this one seems to be in quite the hurry. And this is a fire training center. Yeah, I was probably holding up 20 or 30 cars here. Stop recording.
If Stride had already been captured, then the druid would not be able to come to her rescue, and Stellan would wait at the house they had rented. She had no reason to flee into the night. Besides, even if her friend did, against all odds, find her.
GoPro, start recording. We did manage to get into the Adirondacks a little bit. I wasn't sure if we were actually going to touch upon it, but we did. And we are now approaching the Vermont border. So yay for that. We have a little over half a mile, I think. Still not sure why they're identifying it as like exit. I just saw a sign from McDonald's, exit 2. It's not a freeway. Maybe the definition is different. Is like in California, if you have at-grade crossings, it is not a freeway, it's not a highway. It has to be limited access. Okay, you ready? Let's catch the sign. It's kind of hidden behind some of the other signs. Here it comes. Welcome to Vermont! Yay! Oh, and I guess it really is becoming a freeway now. Interesting. So we got 14 miles to exit 6. What's the Granite State? Is that New Hampshire? Seems to be plenty of it here, although I don't think that's granite. I don't know what that is. I don't know what to think. I do know if you've seen one freeway, you've seen them all, though. GoPro, stop recording.
In the middle of the walkway. From that tower, she could see the maze of trees far below, a vast forest that revealed no further light, no further settlement of mankind. The puka slowed its flapping and glided down. Before it landed, she felt a jolt of magic, and suddenly she stumbled to her knees on the hard stone of the walkway.
GoPro, start recording. Well, so far Vermont's very pretty, but there's definitely some ominous looking clouds up above there. And I have no idea if that's the direction that I'm heading or if I'm heading over to the blue sky direction. I'm going to hope we're heading for the blue sky direction. How about that? Less than 10 miles remaining. now we're entering the town of West Rutland. I wonder if we've got the same town and village thing going on in Vermont. GoPro, stop recording.
To blurt out words in Hotlander, speaking so fast that she didn't recognize some of them.
GoPro, start recording. So the view from the freeway has been absolutely beautiful. We're about to get off. I'm a little bit nervous because a couple of the reviews I read about staying at the Walmart here made it sound, I guess we're going to be squarely under this dark cloud. Oh well. Made it sound like it wasn't a very good neighborhood. And the Home Depot is right, I think, in the same area.
Turn left onto US 4 Business.
Nice looking park over to the right with people out in there walking. Oh, it's a dog park. Cute.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Main Street.
Well, we're still 6 miles away from our destination. So we'll see. And hey, maybe we're driving out from under that big cloud. That'd be a-okay.
In 600 feet, turn right onto Main Street.
Well, it said Rutland was 3 miles, so I imagine we're going to be staying on the far side of Rutland. It's going to be my guess.
Continue for 3 miles.
Travel information at Sunoco on the right. I wonder what kind of travel information. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of clouds. Wonder if it's supposed to rain again tonight. $3.29 for regular. That's not terrible. Dan Kearney's RV Center and car lot. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, start recording. Okay, now we are officially in the city of Rutland, Vermont. So we'll see what we can see.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto West Street. At the light, turn right onto West Street.
very busy cemetery there. Well, not a lot of headstones that I'm seeing. Interesting. Rotella. Building materials. Okay. They had a lot of signs. That's a cool looking building up there ahead at the end. We're going to go through the downtown Rutland. I thought for sure we were going to be bypassing it. Look at that cool building on the left. Got another big one coming up on the right. Very cool. Church, Episcopal, CCV, Community College of Vermont. Look at this building, which probably was originally a house, and I'm guessing now is all apartments. Grand Union across the street to the left must be a grocery store. We got Five Guys and Wendy's. Kind of reminds me of a college town. Does not look terribly prosperous. Hopefully this is going to be okay. What do you think, Kit? Is it going to be okay? Kind of surprised at how few RVs I've seen on the road overall. Of course, I haven't really been going to RV destinations, I guess. Not that I even know what that means, truth be told.
In 800 feet, turn right onto US 4 East Woodstock Avenue.
Oh, Vermont liquor store. Let's just stop here. Yowza. GoPro, stop recording.
Head north toward Norton Place. Head east toward Carroll Street.
GoPro, start recording. So I got
Head south toward Carroll Street.
into that parking lot okay at the Grand Union,
Turn left onto Carroll Street. Then turn left.
but I couldn't get out of it. It was was a big enough decline that getting in was okay, but getting out was going to be a problem. Interesting. So this says discount beverages, and I talked to the guy. Grand Union is a grocery store. They also have a liquor store within it. And I talked to the guy in there. He said liquor's actually cheaper in New Hampshire. There's no tax and no state regulation. And for comparison, a 1.75 Evan Williams, which is between $19.98 and $21.98, depending on what state I'm in typically, was $32, plus a bottle deposit. So I think I can wait a day or two to get to New Hampshire. Look at that pretty greenhouse with the purple doors. That's kind of attractive.
Continue on US 40 1 mile.
But it was worth checking. I'm still trying to decide what to do about the running the generator. I'm only up to 67%. It is supposed to be sunny for the rest of the week though, at least here. Ginger China. Looks like they're out of business. And the temperature's gone from 72 down to 67. Elevation has gone from 193 this morning, or 189, whatever it was, at the canal. We're up to 701. Woohoo! Van lifer just went by in the black van, fifth wheel, and we saw another trailer and I think another RV here. Do you think you were going someplace? You hungry? I know. But we're almost done. We only got 3/4 of a mile to our destination. Prices for groceries in the grocery store looked pretty expensive too, actually. Like apples were $1.99 a pound, and I'm trying to remember what else I saw there.
Turn left, then turn right.
Well, there's at least one RV out here. Doesn't have a truck attached to it, but the windows are open. And there's the Asian market. I think that's where they want us to park, is over in that direction. And I am A-okay with that. Chinese sushi full bar. Okay. We can do that.
Turn right, then turn left.
There's actually quite a few RVs here. They've got chairs out. What the actual hell, people?
Turn left, then turn left.
tempted to park over there. A lot of construction equipment over here. Yeah, I think I'm going to come around and park over here.
Heading.
Or I could just go over here. It's kind of muddy. Alright, hang on, kid. We're almost done. I just got to make a decision about where to park here. Yeah. And then it's going to come down to getting the level.
Head south.
This is real level, but no sun. How's this? Feels like I'm facing downhill a little bit. GoPro, stop recording. Well, after driving around this entire parking lot way more than I wanted to, I finally found a spot that's about a degree off in each direction. My view is kind of awful, so like that's what I got, and I imagine it's going to be noisy tomorrow morning, but I get up early anyway, so I don't really care. I'll just make sure I close all of my curtains and stuff tonight. GoPro, stop recording.